everybody, and welcome to dojolive. We're going to have our first show of the week this Tuesday, September 13th, 2022. My name is America Guerrero, and I will be hosting today. And it's my pleasure to introduce Sam Miller. He's going to be our guest today. Hello, Sam.
Hello, great to be here. Thanks for having me.
It's great. Sam, he is the founder and CEO at Proteus Motion. So this is so exciting. You are located in Brooklyn, right? I'm here in
Yes.
Mexico City broadcasting from here.
Excellent.
So please share a little bit about your background, about who you are, your passion, and then we'll go through the company.
Sure. Yeah, happy to. Thanks so much for having me. So, I think overall, just I'm Sam Miller. I'm the founder and CEO of Proteus Motion, based in Brooklyn. I'd say generally my past experience is in engineering, design, business operations, and sales. I'm kind of a generalist. What kind of the journey that led me here today is kind of stems back to my own childhood sports training experiences and physical therapy. Recovering from a really kind of painful condition in my knee that shaped what I'm doing today. And it was those inspirations really created like this drive or this ambition to establish, what we're intending to become kind of a new universal standard for physical strength. And so the genesis for kind of this idea and what we're doing and how kind of my background all intersects and combines to where we are today is around from my rehabilitation experiences being frustrated with fitness equipment. And that was really around like inability to be able to objectively track my progress. And the limitations of that data stemmed from limitations of the equipment itself. And so, kind of set out
Wow.
yeah, that's kind of a lesser known point, I think, but it's like, if you think about this, this explosion of the connected fitness space, it's
Yes.
largely been about digitizing an existing piece of equipment. And
Wow.
so like along with that is, kind of limitations around being able to progress or revolutionize measurement capabilities through software, because they can kind of just measure the same thing and therefore tell you the same thing and deliver that in the form of content. So I set out to solve a big portion of that problem around strength data and filling this void by creating a new type of exercise machine altogether. And that I had a good head start because I started by using kind of a mechanical concept for a
Yes.
machine that my dad invented at MIT in the early 90s.
Wow. Wow, this is so impressive. Thank you so much for sharing your personal story about the genesis of everything. You already touched about Proteus Motion and the problem that you are solving. So that led us into the topic for today's show, which is physical strength, a new frontier in human performance. If you ask someone how strong they are, it's almost a certainty that they are referenced a squat or bench press. Why? Who cares? And what's missing from that answer? Multi-billion dollar industry have been created around every pillar of human performance, except our physical strength. Why is that? And how Proteus is becoming the MRI for physical strength. So please share with us why this topic is relevant for today's show. Sam.
Sure, happy to. I think so back to kind of what we do. I mean, we created a new exercise machine to unlock strength measurement capabilities, right? And I think why this is relevant today is related to the fact that around the kind of quantified self movement, where we've had huge industries be established and grow around other pillars of human performance, right? So sleep and recovery, right? 24/7 wearables created a $30 billion market in that space around that pillar of human performance. And the MRI or the X-ray created a $60 billion body imaging market around musculoskeletal health and wellness. Physical strength is very much still how much can you bench press or how much can you squat?
Yeah.
And there's huge limitations, or there's huge issues with that around the limitations for individualization. And what we've found is, we basically created a solution that we like to say Proteus is doing for physical strength what the MRI has done for body imaging. And the reality is that there's a need for personalization and differentiation in personal training, in physical therapy. And this is not just for athletes, it's for everyone.
Yes.
And so there's this huge information gap that is not quite known or understood yet, because simply there hasn't been a solution that filled this need. So what we did is we've created a revolutionary strength testing device that can also be used as a resistance training tool, but its primary purpose is for testing. And this information that our product Proteus system delivers fills a critical gap of information that allows trainers the ability to determine essential characteristics about an individual as it relates to their strength, which gives them superpowers to basically create this next level of personalization and individualization in training, to focus on how, when, why, and what to train optimally.
I really like that personalization element. How is, for example, if someone who is not an exercise expert, someone like me, for example, that I have been procrastinating this for a long time, do I need a coach to start my journey with this device, or how does it work?
It's a great question. So I would say the short answer to that is right now, yes, you would want to have at least your first several experiences with a trainer with supervision. However, the system does not need to be used that way. It's pretty intuitive to the point that, we're in 43 states now. We've got tens of thousands of users across the US and Canada. And we have many users that everyone starts using it with a trainer, but then many of them progress to just kind of use it on their own. The way that this works is we have a physical machine. You can probably we're about to launch a new website soon, so it's probably best to go to our Instagram for visual.
Great videos.
Yeah, at Proteus Motion. So we've got this kind of physical device. It's roughly the footprint, a little smaller than the footprint of a treadmill. And it comes with a 27-inch touchscreen monitor that delivers the software product. And so we've got kind of several modes within the software product. One of them is around training and workouts, which are very, very engaging and exciting and effective. And then the other is performance testing. And so we basically patented the first and only way to measure physical strength for 100% of human movement. And we've built this data set that is the first and only data set for physical strength in 3 dimensions. And so that fuels the foundation of a software product that basically delivers full body assessments by kind of instructing you to perform exercises.
Yes.
And some of our kind of standardized full body assessments, like one that you would do, for example, you do 15 exercises in 3 minutes.
Okay. So now that we're talking about technology, what is that 3D resistance that I saw one of your videos? And I saw also that it gives you the result that of moving like if you were through water or something. Please share with us.
Yeah. So I guess the key, time back to the strength measurement side of it. So the reason that it's not been possible to measure strength for anything but a movement in a straight line, like a bench press or a squat, is because strength requires a force, right? It's your ability to move against a force. And if you look at free weights or cable machines or any other kind of exercise tool that provides resistance for resistance training, they provide force in only one direction. So it can't adapt or react or respond to match or mirror the direction of your movement, especially as you're moving through multiple planes. So what we did was we created something that we call 3D resistance. And 3D resistance, another one of our many patents, 3D resistance is a constant force no matter what direction you move. So, and it feels like you're moving through a fluid. And so it's like, and so it is insanely safe. It's a totally new workout experience. And we've also clinically proven that it is 2 times more effective than a free weight or a cable machine as a resistance training tool. But what 3D resistance really provides is constant force means that we can measure physical strength however you're moving. So it is the 3D resistance provides this kind of new training experience and resistance training modality and those benefits, but it also fuels the ability to measure strength, which is what our software product is built around. And so the product itself kind of guides you to do a number of exercises, and then you do those, and then it gives you a report, which is shareable. And the report tells you basically where you should be training and how, what level of resistance, which informs what tools you should use, which as well as what areas of the body. And so one of the really interesting things here, just to kind of tie this to something that's tangible, is that we looked at a data set of thousands of tests that were performed by our users across
That's
all
amazing.
demographics. And
So,
yeah, and well, I was just going to say 40% of people that have been tested on Proteus are faster than they are strong. So they need to train strength.
mhm.
35% of people are stronger than they are fast. So they need to train speed. And so, which means light resistance at high speeds. So like it basically confirms that training needs to be individualized, because no matter, depending on who you are, you might need to train heavy weights, light weights, anywhere in between, different speeds and different areas of the body. And basically there's this information gap there that for a trainer is completely limiting their ability to determine these essential characteristics. And then we provide kind of the only practical and accurate solution to fill this gap, which provides superpowers, really.
That's really awesome. I'm talking about how safety it is. Can kids use this device with the trainer? What's your customer ideal age range?
Yeah, great question. So we have this product, the hardware and the software, the training and the measurement is easily, I mean, we think it is without question the most versatile piece of equipment in the history of fitness and physical rehabilitation. It is a powerful and valuable tool for any kind of user of any stage of health. So post-operative rehab to peak performance training and everywhere in between. We have users that are ages 8 to 88 and everywhere in between, at every stage of health. Now, our software product is really geared towards users that are 13 years old and above, unless, of course, we have consent on the data side, because all the data is cloud-based. So some regulatory issues that we are compliant with on that front. But despite the kind of broad spectrum of applications, we have primarily and initially been focusing on sports performance, and our kind of target market where we've been really growing and growing fast has been in basically sports performance and sports medicine. So businesses, we're B2B, so businesses that provide services to competitive athletes, and that could be a recreational golfer to a college baseball player to a pro football player to a high school volleyball player and everywhere in between.
That's amazing. This is high tech. So I'm curious about how the society is ready to use this. I mean, what are the techniques you use to convince conservative environments to adopt change, to use this?
Sure. I mean, I think it's pretty simple on our end. So what's been interesting is that we've spent historically $0 on marketing and advertising. So we've done basically no marketing, no advertising. it's all been organic growth through word of mouth. So that's always one of the most powerful tools for getting started. And some product works well and is exciting people and really engaging, is when your kind of customers and partners can amplify the message of the product and kind of spread the word to other, like customers. So we've relied on that heavily, and that's been really powerful for us. But I think what we've really been focusing on is calling attention to and proving the need for having this information and what you can do with it, right? So it's one thing to go out and say, hey, we've got a technology that can produce data that nobody else can. And the reality is, who cares, right? Like, that's exciting and that's interesting, but it doesn't provide, necessarily that much value.
The need.
Yeah, especially to a lot of these businesses. So for us, it's like, this is a tool that a lot of our customers have built their business around. So every one of their clients and members, when they walk in the door, they are getting tested on Proteus right away. That information is used to basically personalize or influence personalization of their training programs. We've seen incredible results. We've seen some of our partners have started to sell our software assessment as an assessment service, as an expansion of their business. Some of them have grown that portion of their business 400% since having Proteus. It's highly marketable. It's very engaging, very sticky. And I mean, overall, it just produces fantastic results.
That's amazing. So the value, it's out there. So you don't feel that necessity of changing too fast and introducing risk or something. It's like you can trust the device that you are selling out there. Am I right?
Yeah, I mean, we're scientifically validated on every level, what we're doing anyways. But I think they're definitely, I founded the company in 2016, and those first couple of years was very humble beginnings, very limited and little, capital to work with, small team. I was building machines myself, with a small team. And we brought in just great partners, like the Hospital for Special Surgery is one of our first partners. It's the number one orthopedic hospital in the United States. As a early collaboration partner, research partner, they turned into a customer, then they later turned into an investor. And so I think for my approach has really been around, like, there's a lot of noise in this space. There's a lot of gimmicky products. There's a lot of stuff that seems exciting and then, ceases to exist. That's not going to be our fate, because I think what we're doing is, it's just, the opportunity is so large around, we are going to create and own this absolutely critical category of physical strength measurement as a universal standard, which we believe will be ubiquitous as a solution from everyone from a doctor to a physical therapist to personal trainer to your everyday whomever. So it's really powerful. Early days, I definitely made mistakes, though, thinking about trying to perhaps being too bold around, trying to sell the product, saying, like, stop, everything that you're doing is wrong. Stop doing that. Use this instead. That's not at all what I got corrected on that pretty quickly. I'm just naive in the early days. For us, it's been around, like, this is a tool in your toolkit, right? That is incredibly powerful for training. For testing, this can not just replace, but elevate everything that you're currently doing. And you need this for testing. You want it for training. You need it for testing, because you need this information. If you actually you especially built your business around trying to optimize human performance, and you're selling your services to improve people's health and physical capabilities, you need to have information that you can get that is actually actionable and understandable, accurate and legitimate, and directly transferable, translatable to what this individual or the client or whomever it is needs to focus on to improve. And that's what we provide, plain and simple.
I can imagine that as a leader, you had a lot of challenges with this technology, with the machine, with the people that are using it. If you were an advisor to your company, looking in from the outside, what kind of advice would you give to that leader?
That's a great question. I think it would be around being, despite knowing that, despite having a very large vision and ambition, which we have, and many applications and potential markets you can go into, do not try to tackle all of it at once, right?
Yeah.
and
Yeah. So,
and we, I mean, and believe it or not, it sounds obvious, but it's tempting. Especially, this is years ago. This was a challenge we faced, and trying to navigate where we're, really going to start to resonate, what markets or what pockets of markets or sub markets we're gonna be able to win and tackle first. And it took a long time to figure that out, and probably wasted a lot of time in figuring that out, right? And not just sticking to our guns and saying, we're just going hard and fast and kind of narrow and deep into this area. And that's what we've done, in the last couple of years, and that's been very, very successful. So that's definitely one thing I would say as an advisor.
that's amazing. There is a lot of knowledge and experience that you have as a leader. So we are actually here at the final minutes of the show, and let's talk about the culture that you have at your company. What can you share with us? Who are the type of people who you like to comprise your team of?
Yeah, I mean, it's very smart, very hardworking, very passionate, and the highest moral and ethical kind of standards. And so, I mean, those are really the four things. We have, it's very, very high integrity. It's always around, do the right thing. We have a culture that's very much focused on, hard work and, but in the right ways, right? We very much value grit. Grit is incredibly important at all stages of any stage of a business, but especially in the early days. You've got, there's no one that has the mentality of like, that's not my job. It's kind of, we're all doing this together, and you gotta, kind of be scrappy and certainly gritty, because there's going to be a lot of ups and downs, and it's all about, we know that, and it's just about stay the course and keep your eye on the prize. And then beyond that, it's passion for sure. It fuels a lot of what we do. We know that what we're doing is really exciting. It's really revolutionary. And that's very motivating to people when they think about the opportunity and the impact that what we're doing can have on the world and these massively large markets in human performance. So it's really a combination of all those things, but overall, it's really smart people, really good people, really hardworking people, and really passionate people.
I love it. I really do. Do you have any other words of wisdom for people out there who want to start a startup, or they are looking for this entrepreneur life? What would you say to them?
Just get started. I think it's that simple. Just you figure out very quickly what's working and what's not. You can plan all day long, and planning is good, but the best way to learn and evolve is to take a risk, jump in and try something, and figure it out. And the reality is, if you care that much, as much as you think you do, about the problem that you're trying to solve, and the vision and the ambition, nothing will stop you.
I see. So if you had to start over again, what would you do differently, and why?
I think I would be a little bit more confident in trying to introduce a really revolutionary solution. I think I was a little bit, in my
Conflict with
head.
the device that you're providing, with the technology that you have, how you're solving the problem out there.
Yeah, well, no, I think it was more about how we're solving the problem and how we're communicating how we're solving the problem. It was almost like too, very cautious about about the perception of making grand claims and not having it be believable, especially in the early days when you don't have too much to support factually what you were doing. I mean, we had a lot, but like at the time we thought like, well, this is not enough. I feel a little uncomfortable. So we were almost overly conscious, and I'm not recommending in any way that people, communicate something that is outside of what they're capable of. That's absolutely not recommended. but like be confident about what it is that you're really trying to do and sticking in your vision, especially if you're fundraising. I mean, I was almost kind of nervous to communicate the magnitude of what we were trying to do, for reasons that I don't necessarily know, because it wasn't. I've always believed them through and through. So I think as we've gotten more social proof and more scientific proof, it's been a lot easier to come out and talk very confidently about what we're doing, and that we're making our way towards that goal. You get a lot of questions in the early days from people that don't necessarily believe you. That's totally okay. That's going to happen. So you just gotta, stay the course, stay confident, and believe in yourself.
Are there any plans for you to expand? Maybe sell this kind of machines in other countries, or what do you have in mind? How are you planning to scale?
Sure. Yeah. So for us, we have a tremendous amount of interest internationally, Europe, Asia, and Australia, particularly South America too. So basically, almost all continents.
Yeah, I was like, what about Mexico?
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean,
We have a massive amount of international interest. We have, except for Canada, we have resisted the temptation to jump into those new markets yet until we have the infrastructure to do so. So we're primarily focused for the time being, for sure, for the next year in the U.S., North America, basically, U.S. and Canada. And the scale plans for us are basically to really maximize the number of units that we deploy in the field. We're launching several revolutionary new software product expansions starting in the next 30 days. That are really going to be game changers and unlock new markets, new understanding of the product, new value, and there's going to be a lot of hype around that as well. So, that really around sticking to the markets that we've been successful in. We're starting to dabble and expand into some broader markets in commercial fitness with some very, very exciting prospects and opportunities going on right now, including pilots and traditional physical therapy. So we're just not trying to tackle too much at one time, but really just it's all about growth.
Step by step. That's amazing. I love it. And thank you so much for sharing your massive knowledge, your story with us. And I wish your company nothing but success. Please stick around for just a minute. I will go off air. And before we do, let me introduce tomorrow's show. Tomorrow, we're going to have an interview with Rachel Carpenter, CEO and co founder at Intrinio. The topic is going to be about open data and the API economy, the future of fintech. It's going to be a topic really different than the one that we had today, but don't miss it. See you tomorrow at 10 a.m. Pacific.